Hey biscuits. So I'm doing a topical video. How rare do I do those, right? I don't normally do topical things, but I've seen all over my social media the Johnny and Amber, I think it's a defamation trial, and I've scanned stuff because I've been curious. Like, people seem so invested in this, and I thought it would be fun to talk about. Now, if you find any of this triggering, look away, press pause in the video, don't watch things that trigger you. But since it's all over and people have like really strong opinions, people that I know that do not like follow gossip at all, you could describe anybody famous to them and what we're talking about this on the phone to me, and I was like, how do you know about this? So I feel like it's really in everybody's mind right now, and I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe the fact that I've been sick since April has left me out of the hip-hop culture kind of thing, which normally I like to read a little bit of gossip. Yeah, so, okay, Team Johnny, Team Amber. I think Johnny is very clearly guilty of the whole, not being the... Well, he was found guilty in a court of law, right, of being a wife beater. So, in my opinion, the court of law said yes, he's guilty. I don't know if you biscuits have ever been, and I hope you have not, in abusive relationships. But if you've ever been, and that, there's a wide spectrum of what abuse is, and how long you live through that and that whole thing. But if you've ever been in that, or if you've ever been around toxic, abusive men, they're like body mannerisms and facial expressions, and you biscuits know I have horrible taste in the fellers. I have in the past, and that I have been in one in particular really bad relationship where it was just, super toxic, super bad, and he was just a really bad person that was super good at disguising that, and could be very charming when he wasn't being terrifying. And I completely recognize the facial expressions and the body mannerisms of Johnny Depp in it. It's like, he clearly is. It's very obvious, I think, for any women, and maybe this is why it's in everybody's forefront of their mind and why it's all over social media. It's really clear, if you've been around those type of men, that he's one of them. So I'm not like an Amber apologist. I don't know a ton about her. It sounds like they both kind of have substance abuse issues, but just because you have a substance abuse issue does not give your partner the right to be violent and terrifying with you and abusive, right? I think that's really important. You don't have to be a perfect victim to still be a victim. And I had the same friend that does not follow gossip at all. I was so surprised they brought this up. Said, oh, do you think throwing a cell phone is a form of abuse? And they really thought not. They were like, no. They thought clearly this Amber person is manipulative and she must be guilty. And I brought up, well, yeah, I've been in that situation, relationship, where my ex-spousal equivalent threw a cell phone at me, and it shattered it hit a table or the ground. It's been many years, and like a piece of shrapnel cut my skin, and it was very scary. And I wasn't mortally wounded, I wasn't scarred, it was just like little nicks, barely anything. But when your partner does something like that might sound very insignificant when you tell somebody, but when you're living it, they're doing that to abuse you, to traumatize you, to scare you, to control you. That's abuse. And I was really shocked that anybody intelligent would see that for anything other than abuse. That really surprised me. And I've been surprised how many people whose work I admire, who I enjoy chatting with, have been very blind to how abusive he clearly has been, in all of this testimony that people are describing. And I haven't gone into the depths of it. I've kind of, read the headlines, and a couple of people I follow on Instagram have been doing a lot of commentary on it. And I'm really shocked that in 2022, which is a really hard year to say, let's just all admit it, it doesn't sound like a real year, that people are still not believing women, are not recognizing the signs in abusers, and are not just saying, this is a line in the sand, is that we don't abuse our partners. It doesn't matter if somebody provoked you. You know, we're all adults in this. You can't be provoked into being abusive, right? Abuse and self-defense are two very different things. And I'm just really shocked that we're in this day and age where, like, because of celebrity, people think you can just be terrible and abusive and cruel and get away with it, and that you should get away with it, that, like, women shouldn't speak out and shouldn't discuss their anguish or their sorrow or their experiences, that somehow that then taints the man's life for being the abuser. And of course, that the victims can also be men. There's plenty of women that abuse, but it really surprises me in this day and age that so many people are defending Johnny Depp, who's so clearly, I mean, he's like been legally found to be a wife beater. Yeah, it really surprises me. I think the lesson is, kids, have gratitude for your success in life. Don't be a raging alcoholic and drug addict, and if you are, seek treatment, ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. But I gotta say, you know, like, there's plenty of people that I'm sure abuse drugs and alcohol that are not abusive, mean monsters, other than to themselves, because they're hurting themselves by doing that. So I just think it's very telling to somebody's personality, and maybe years of being coddled and told yes. But yeah, it's really taken me aback, and it's certainly, triggered's not the right word, because that's like re-traumatized. I don't feel re-traumatized. I just feel a lot of recognition, having known men like this that are just pathologically bad for women, and how many people in their lives support and protect them because they don't want to see how bad that man is. And I feel like, you know, when I look back on my previous relationship that was so bad, all the people in his life, great people, lovely people, genuine, good, salt of the earth people, but they protected him knowing how bad and abusive he was, because they didn't want to admit that their friend had this really, really dark, bad, violent side to them. And I think it's really important that, you know, like, gossip aside, you know, they're people's lives, it's tragic, it's hard, they're clearly in a lot of pain. But what we can take forward is, like, from the public, is to really look at our lives and the people around us, and are we fostering an environment where abusive people are protected around us? Are we, like, turning a blind eye? Are we shrugging? Are we thinking he or she brought it on themselves? I don't really like that person, so whatever. You know, are we being protectors of abuse? Even if we aren't the perpetrators, how can we make the world safer for people that are in these relationships to be able to come out and speak about it and get safe and get free from it? And I think that's really important, because, I mean, look at this poor woman. I don't even know how long they've been divorced. I feel like it's been a long time. But, I mean, I don't think she even ever named him, did she? I think he sued her first. And yet her life, like, it must be millions of dollars in legal fees. And she just wants him to, like, leave her alone, to go away. She, I'm sure, has been super traumatized by this. And it's just really shocking that we give the public forum and space, both socially, wide-wise, and then personally in our own lives, to people that are so toxic. And I think that it takes a lot of inward reflection to say, you know, are we supporting that? Like, I know somebody in my life who I'm very, very close to, but who has a tendency to be incredibly toxic to women. You know, not like a woman beater, but just really toxic and bad. And I've had to have several really frank conversations with him about, like, look, these are the patterns you're doing, and you need to change this. Like, I cannot support this. I cannot turn and pretend I don't see this. Like, I know this is painful to hear, but I say this from love, is that, like, you can behave better. We expect better of you. And I think it's really important that we stand up and do that in our day-to-day lives, or these kind of situations just keep repeating themselves. And, you know, I want everybody happy. I want everybody to be joyful. I don't want people to be suffering and be in pain and be inflicting pain on others. And boy, it fascinates me how involved everybody seems in this. And it really surprises me how few people are siding with her, from what I can tell. when it's like, to me it's such a clear-cut case, you know, and I don't have anything invested in this. I'm like, I don't know these people, but I really think that we have to come to a place where abuse is not just normalized and trivialized, and that men and women are safe to tell their abusers to stop and to be able to get out of those situations. And I think that's really important. Okay, I just looked at the timer on my camera. I have talked about this for a very long time, but I wanted to come on and talk about it because it just keeps popping up in my everyday life, and that's the universe's way of saying, hey, this must be on a lot of people's minds. So I am going to see you in the next video. I hope that you are feeling safe and loved and supported in all the relationships in your life, whether romantic or platonic or family. And I hope that if you are not feeling safe in there, that you have a way to reach out to people around you who can help, because it's never a bad idea to ask for help, and there's no shame in it for when you need to pull yourself out of situations and relationships that are unhealthy. So I will see you in the next video, and I'll see you over on Instagram.